Rucker, the tying run at first. 1 out, bottom of the ninth. Wright State 8, Tennessee 5. Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre, and Tennessee can say hello, win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo, right here.
Woo! Let's go. I'm ready to rock and roll. Welcome to the Talkin' Balls Network. This is Talkin' Balls Live. My name is Boogie Bentley.
My name is the Indie Kid.
Oh man, I'm so fired up. I'm so much fun tonight. Oh my gosh, I love postseason baseball. We got so much to talk about tonight. Look, not a lot of love lost between these two programs, going all the way back to the regular season, early in the regular season when the VAWLS swept the Tigers inside of Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Paul Maneri had some things to say about this fan base. He was not happy. He called us dirty. He called us slimy. He called us villains. And
I don't think anybody, including our fan base, are afraid to be the villains. So I think that that's what makes this play special, is that starting with our coaching staff and our players, we enjoy getting in a fight, and we enjoy the close games, and we enjoy the competition.
I'm 100% ready and prepared to be the villains of SEC baseball. We're going to get things kicked off here. Look, I set this stream up early in the day. Donovan Milliken, he might be the number one Talkin' Balls baseball fan. But unfortunately, after X amount of time, super chats, super stickers, all that stuff kind of fall off. Donovan showed up about, 6 hours ago and dropped a $100 super chat, which is mind-blowing. So thank you, Donovan, for that. He said, our pitching and hitting is better than LSU, just no errors, and we win. Boogie and Indie Kid, keep it up, guys. He followed that up with a $10 super sticker. And then he followed that up with a $20 super sticker. And then he followed that up with another $20 super sticker. So I just want to say thank you to Donovan. Unfortunately, it's fallen off a StreamYard. I can't highlight it. I can't put it on the screen. But thank you. It kind of blows my mind, to be honest with you, that somebody would throw $150 our way before we even go live. So thank you, Donovan, for that. And also, just quickly, I want to thank Ryan Drew. He dropped a $5 super chat on my lunchtime live show I did Friday, and it fell off as the show was going off, so I didn't catch that and mention it. So just a quick thank you to Ryan Drew. I appreciate that super chat on Friday. Tim Bradley in the chat. Let's run it down, see who's here. He says, close one, friends and neighbors. Yeah, we were nervous. We were a little nervous. David Smith is here. What's up, David? Welcome on into the chat. Ken Johnson is here. Hello, Ken. David's here. Guys, welcome. Come on into the chat. Smash that thumbs up as you always do. Kelly Goodwin is here. Says, go Big Orange. Kenny Jones is in the house. Todd Cox. What's up, Todd? Lucas, as always, Lucas Sharp is in the chat hanging out as well. Come on in, guys. We're going to talk about it. Big time game. Indie Kid, opening thoughts on this game tonight.
Good baseball teams win tight baseball games. Like that wasn't pretty. The hitting wasn't outstanding tonight by any means, but they did what a good baseball team does, and they found a way to scratch, claw, and win that baseball game right there. Wasn't perfect on either side. But hey, they, just like when Wright State pulled their pitcher in the eighth inning, LSU pulled Hilliard probably a little early, and it backfired on them tonight. And, I was not impressed with either pitcher for LSU. You and I texted about it. They're throwing it right there for them to hit. And I know they kept talking about the last guy, how they're high on him and stuff. Good fastball, but they've seen fastballs all year. I just didn't I wasn't getting it while we couldn't hit either guy, but then they scratched and clawed and made it happen. We had to sweat it out in the ninth. I wouldn't expect anything else. That's Tennessee sports for you. You always have to sweat it out then. But good win tonight. I felt they really needed to get that win with LSU's ace, Marceau, going tomorrow. You've got them in the hole right now, and I really think they can finish them off tomorrow. I think the hitting will be better tomorrow. Marceau's a good pitcher, but, they face good pitchers every weekend. I think they're going to pull it out and end it tomorrow.
Well, they've set themselves up perfectly, and it's kind of something we talked about last weekend in the regionals, and now here we are, super regional, and it's the same deal, right? This first game was huge to me. And if they had lost tonight, it's not like I would have thought it was over. I would have been a little bit more nervous tomorrow, but we've talked about it time and time again when we're covering this baseball team. I don't know what the numbers are, but it's when Tennessee bounces back from a loss, their record is ridiculous coming off of a loss. So it's going to be really hard for LSU to win back-to-back games. Of course, again, we look back at last weekend in the regionals, and everybody thought LSU was done. They got a little bit more of emotion, a little bit fire because their coach is retiring. So we'll see. We'll see. But I like Tennessee's odds at this point. Huge to get that first win. And let's look, we got to talk about the atmosphere. We got to talk about the atmosphere in Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Of course, you had the Big Orange Block Party. I did a quick little video on that when they made the announcement, kind of threw off your preview. But what do you think? What do you think of the atmosphere? You could, going into the game, I told my wife, we were sitting in the living room waiting on the game to get started. And I said, I'm just curious because I started seeing videos and pictures, and it was nuts outside of Lindsey Nelson. And I was curious how it would translate to TV, but you could hear it. That stadium was rocking and rolling tonight.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was an awesome atmosphere. And, this is stuff that Vitello's alluded to this year, wanting to have that rowdy atmosphere. And, this was awesome. And this is for baseball. That's the crazy thing. This is for baseball right here. That this, like I said on the telecast, not only Knoxville, but I think the whole state. Hell, I'm not even in the state, but I've always been a UT baseball guy. Regardless, it's Tennessee sports, so yeah, we follow it. But yeah, that's an awesome atmosphere. And again, I think it's something Vitello alluded to with this program. We need these atmospheres. We need that. If you want to call it a party, whatever you want to call it, right there. But it's a true home field advantage. And, I think stuff like this year has really been a catalyst to where they're going with this program, with those facilities, and whatever comes of it. But, yeah, awesome, man. Loved it. And, it was I think the crowd was they were into it I didn't feel it was, I don't know. Did you feel they were rowdy the whole time?
I felt like it was way more intense at the beginning of the game. I think the weather delay kind of calmed things down.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too, because when Dallas was rolling, man, they were fired up and stuff. And, the offense really didn't give them a whole lot to get fired up about. But Chad Dallas did. He was dealing tonight. And, it was just, a cool night. And I would imagine they're doing the block party all weekend. Yeah, I don't think it was a one-time thing. So, hopefully they bring it again tomorrow. And hopefully, I don't know what the forecast is up there, but hopefully, no lightning, no thunder, anything like that. Hopefully they can come out and play ball and get it done tomorrow.
I want to kind of piggyback on what you said about the atmosphere, but first let me hit this super chat from Evan Counts, throwing $14.99 our way. Thanks so much, Evan. We appreciate the super chat. He's not even saying anything. He just says, I love talking balls. Here's a tip in the old tip jar. Thank you for that support, Evan. We do appreciate it. Let me say this also real quick. We got 115 people watching live. 115 people watching a baseball post-game show at 11 p.m. This is amazing. This is what we want. Because of you guys, we are able to branch out and start giving you more basketball coverage, more baseball coverage. Help us out. Smash that thumbs up. It's just below the video. Just hit that little thumbs up. All you got to do is be signed into Google. Press that button. It helps the channel. It is what it is. Press that thumbs up. We got 61 now. Let's get it to 100. And I want to go back, indicate what you're talking about with the atmosphere. I was going to kind of save this for later, but we'll get into the game. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about offense, defense, pitching, everything. But because you're talking about atmosphere, I want to kind of go into this. I don't know. Did you see the quote from Danny White? He was asked this week about his thoughts on playing downtown. And his quote, I love it. I love everything about it. And it's why I truly believe that Danny White is the athletic director that is going to get this program going in the right direction. His comment, he said, I'm committed to whatever our baseball coach tells me gives us the best opportunity to recruit and develop players at a really high level. We talk about wanting a better facility and improving things, and I want to do that in every sport we have. We are the number 3 seed in the NCAA tournament right now. The committee puts us as the number 3 team in the country. That's pretty good. I'm going to listen to the person responsible for putting us in that position in Tony Vitello. What a great quote from Danny White this week.
Yeah. Danny White's really I think he's hit on all cylinders this week with how he's addressed the block party. He's addressed listening to Tony Vitello, and he made mention too about how the Tony Vitello contract talks have been going on for a while right now as well. So, and I want to address one comment here real quick, and I'll come back to what you. Cody said, I think we fired.
Oh, we hit it at the same time.
John Curry did not hire Rick Barnes. That was a Dave Hart hire. So, end of discussion on that. Yeah, Curry did a good job with Vitello. He definitely did. Give him credit on that one. Hart hired Rick Barnes. So, but anyway, back to it. I'm confident in Danny White. And one of the things when he came in, we talked about is it was a well-rounded program at Central Florida, women's and men's. So there's no reason that the University of Tennessee should have any shortage in any program, whether it's sports or whether it's academics. And I think that I think Tennessee's got the right guy in there now. Yeah, did he upset some people by calling the fan base negative more than once? Yes, he did. But, this is the best athletic director I truly believe we've had down there probably since Dickey. And obviously we don't have a whole lot to go on. A lot of this is going to depend on what happens with football if they get that going. But he's definitely – I think Danny White, he knows what's going on. He's got the pulse of the fan base. He has the pulse of the athletic program. And I think he's hit on all cylinders this week.
Yep. And going back to what he said, when listening, he seems to be listening. And like you said, he's got his finger on the pulse. Look, how easy would it have been to say, because I think they're crediting Jason Swain for the block party thing, but I think it was one of his listeners that started the tweet. And then Swain kind of quote tweeted it, got the ball rolling. But I think it was maybe Wednesday or Thursday? It was late in the week when Swain kind of got the ball rolling on that. It would have been real easy for the athletic department to say, that's a good idea. We need more time. We can't do it. No, they went right to work. They made it happen, and it created an amazing atmosphere when you're handcuffed with how many people you can get in. People were upset because of ticket sales, the whole 9 yards. And Danny White made lemonade out of lemons, and it is what it is. Tyler Adams becomes a member of the channel. Thank you so much, Tyler, for joining the channel. You can do it for as little as 99 cents a month. I think there's also a level for $2.99. What does that mean? Click that join button. It's right beside subscribe. You get access to custom Talkin' VAWLS emojis. Guys, if you remember, start throwing those emojis in the chat. I want to see them in the chat. There's a Tony Vitello head. There's a Power T. You can even put my ugly mug or the Indie Kid's beautiful face. Just put it in the chat. Show them the emojis. Also, it lets me know you're a member. I try to highlight your comments more when we're in a controlled situation. Sometimes it gets out of control. Jake in the chat says, welcome, Tyler. Thanks for becoming a member. Dustin Sellers with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Dustin. We appreciate the love. He says, thanks, Talkin' VAWLS, for keeping us informed on all things Tennessee. He says, UT Sports seems to have an overall feeling of optimism. Is that not true? The feeling in Knoxville right now is there's some buzz. There's some buzz. He says, let's hope it's contagious. The Tennessee faithful more than deserve some positivity. We do, man. We do. And that's kind of where this baseball team is at. How many times have we said time in, time out, that when they have a winning program, this fan base is going to show up. They're going to support them. And we're seeing that with this baseball program.
Yeah, and we're seeing it like never before. I mean, they've had winning baseball programs before. It's been a while. It's been since 2005 since they've had a real top-notch program. But, yeah, this baseball program has just totally rejuvenated this fan base this year. I mean, it's a fan base that had to deal with that train wreck of a football season. Basketball was rough this year. Although they made the tournament, it was a rough ending, and it was a tough season right there. But then, I thought that was interesting. Michael Palmer compared it to Bruce Pearl reawakening Tennessee basketball. There's a lot of similarities there, because I remember when Pearl came in, they were coming off the buzzball era, not a lot of optimism, and just totally rejuvenated the program. But yeah, this baseball program, man, it's really rejuvenated this fan base. And the comments Evan Russell makes about the Villains. Tennessee is one of the most mocked fan bases out there. What if they're winning? It's, well, these guys hadn't won. They're, act like you've been there. Or if you're losing, you're getting mocked. So what the hell, man? Just embrace the villain aspect at this point, because the fan base, we're getting mocked regardless of what happens. Let's embrace it. Other schools want to talk crap. We can talk it back. And, this baseball program's not afraid to scrap. They're not afraid to go at it with other programs or what have you. I love it. I love it. It's nice to see a program in orange and white that has guts, who's not afraid, and who's not intimidated. We haven't seen it around many programs down there in a long time. Probably the last program we've seen down there that had it, I would say, Jennings was a guy I wouldn't take crap, but the Grant Williams Tennessee teams didn't take it either. But this team, they're ready to roll. Any night another team wants to go, they're ready to go at it with them. And Tony Vitello is the ringleader of it, and that's awesome. It's good to have a coach down there that has some emotion, that has some gumption, and just flat out doesn't care to go at it.
Yeah, I mean, they have a confidence factor. And how many times, me personally, watching this baseball team throughout the year, so many times that I've got that battered ball syndrome from football, and I'm watching this baseball team and I'm like, it's over. It's like, just last weekend, that Drew Gilbert home run, that will go down in Tennessee baseball history as one of the greatest moments of all time. Just what a clutch performance. You can never count this baseball team out, and they feed off of the energy of their coach. Tony Vitello is one of a kind, and seeing his reaction, seeing him run out there and do that somersault, like it's silly, but he is just like them. He is a kid, man, and they feed off of his energy. Seeing him walk up into the crowd, that dude's coming back. That dude's going to be in Knoxville for a long, long time. I'm very confident of that at this point. Very, very confident.
Yeah, I like this comment right here. I'm going to highlight for such an irrelevant program, boys. Other teams sure do talk about Tennessee, like especially that Puke program a couple hours down the road in Nashville. They sure do like to talk a whole lot. And we've had there's a couple guys that come in here that are cool Arkansas fans, but Arkansas is not a big fan of Tennessee's program either, if you see the overall pulse of theirs. So it's whether it's Arkansas, which they've got to fight tomorrow to get to Omaha, but Vandy's already there. I said it before, my dream scenario would be to take Vandy out in Omaha. Piss on that program. They can't stand Vanderbilt. I will not hold back on Vanderbilt at all. Arkansas grant a little bit because we've had some decent fans. We've had some jerks, but we've had some cool ones as well. But, it is what it is right now. You're going to get – there's comment. It's the SEC and teams – I saw it last weekend, the number just – and there was people making just comments that was over the top on Gilbert's walk-off, that they would put him in the hospital. And this. No, you wouldn't. You're gutless and sitting behind a computer. And, Vandy fans were complaining about it. And then when their guy hit a grand slam late against Georgia Tech, celebrating, throwing the bat, oh, it wasn't a big deal. Then Arkansas hits one late against Nebraska, wasn't a big deal. Come on, guys. If you're going to jack your jaws, live up to it or whatever. If Tennessee's wrong for doing it, your guys are too. Personally, I had no problem with any of it, but such a bunch of hypocrites out there. And, they must be scared of the Knox villains at this point, is all I can say.
Whoa, don't say that on air. That's a freaking T-shirt. We'll make money off of that. I like it.
Well, I think they've already had the T-shirt idea for it. So.
Well, nobody knows that. We'll claim it as our own, make T-shirts and make money. That's what we're here to do, is make money. Let's kind of walk through this game a little bit. Like you said earlier, you and I were texting kind of going into this game, and that Tennessee needed to take advantage because LSU didn't have their ace on the mound. Tennessee needed to take advantage of Hilliard. And, he comes out, man, he looked good. He looked good early, retired the first 6 batters, but then the weather delay. He's forced to go sit down for 45 minutes. He comes back. Jordan Beck leads off the bottom of the 3rd with a double. Durkee moves him over with a swinging bunt. Pavoloni pushes him across with the fielder's choice, tied at 1-3. But how about Chad Dallas, man? Just throwing an absolute gem. And I'll tell you what, for me, he comes out top of the 1st, and it's almost the opposite. He comes out, goes 1-2-3, top of the 1st. Thought he looked good. Breaking ball looked good. But then 2nd inning, it's absolutely pouring rain. And I text you, I'm like, man, are they going to just play through this mess? He gives up the solo home run. They come out, work on the mound. And we were kind of talking because they showed the kid in the LSU dugout when you talk about Tennessee being the villains. And at this point, I can't even remember what he said. He
said, poor baby.
There you go. Yeah. Poor baby. Gotta have somebody come out and work on the mound. Funny how they can run their mouths, but if Tennessee does anything, then it's a problem. But Chad Dallas just absolutely went to work. What an outing. What an absolute just dominant performance. 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 runs, only one of those being earned. No walks, 12 strikeouts.
Yep. Probably his best outing of the season. His best 2 outings have been against LSU this year, and he's had some good outings, obviously, but first time around he went let's see, I'm trying to think. I previewed it and I've forgotten it now, but I know he had 11 Ks the first time, 12 tonight. So, he has LSU's number, and he did a good job. And that 2nd run shouldn't have happened right there. The LSU guy couldn't get a bunt down, and then Pavoloni, good God, that throw wasn't even close down to 3rd. I mean, it was 10 foot short and hopped out there. It was it is what it is, but he did a good job. I wondered about that too, Terry, if he slipped on the mound or what right there. They shouldn't have been playing in that. This is not the local church league in Bluntville that you're playing at that point where lightning's striking and rain's pouring, we're still playing. This is NCAA baseball, man. Pull them off the field. The only reason they got pulled off was because of lightning. If that hadn't happened, they would have kept playing it. But, it all worked out later on. And of course, Hundley come in, did his job again. Hundley's had some big games because the first series this year, he had 2 wins and a save. And then he had another save tonight. So, and I'm hoping he'll have another save or win tomorrow and end this thing. But, that was big for Dallas tonight. They could not afford to go 0-1 with LSU's ace on the hill tomorrow. It's not that I don't think they can't beat Marceau by any means, but you don't want to be down 0-1 and face a team's ace.
No, especially with the circumstances. Again, LSU playing for their coach. I think that does play into it. But going back to that top of the 5th where, Dallas, he gave up a single, then he hits a batter. And that was kind of led to Pavoloni throwing the ball into left field. What do you think of that when the guy that he hit? Because I see it a lot in college baseball. They don't seem real urgent to get out of the way of a pitch. And I thought he definitely leaned into it.
I don't know, man. It was it was in the batter's box.
It was. And I get that. But at the same time, when I played baseball, the last thing I wanted to do was get hit by a pitch. I would dive on my head. I would dive out of the batter's box. I would duck, dive, and dodge. You can dive a wrench, but you can dodge a wrench, but you can't dodge a ball. I would do everything in my power to get out of the way. But college baseball, they don't. They take it. And I get it. But I don't know, man. I just feel like they got to do something to fix that.
I don't know. As long as it's not on the hand or wrist, I didn't care to take one. I never did. It didn't bother me. Get on base every how you can. If a guy's leaning into it or something, that's one thing. But, if you're throwing it in the batter's box or something, I don't have a problem with it if they take one for the team right there. That's just my opinion. I didn't have a big problem with that. I did have a problem later on when Evan Russell got hit in the shoe and they didn't call it. But, it worked out. He still got on.
They even reviewed that too, didn't they?
No.
I know Tennessee couldn't challenge because they had already used their challenges, but I thought the umpires went and looked at it. Did they not?
They kind of talked about it, but nothing came of it. I mean, it ended up being a walk anyway, but it worked out. But man, Russell, he's struggling right now too. That was big because I was at the time. Of course, me sitting there, I'm like, you don't want to take that cheap on base, knock it out of the ballpark. But he got on. It worked out. I don't know. My deal too is last week we saw where Drew Gilbert didn't get out of the way and they called it a strike, and then tonight, it can't be one way or not the other. Of course, I had a problem with the umpiring last weekend. I didn't think it was too bad tonight. I thought it was a little more of a wider strike zone tonight than it was last week. And it wasn't just throw it down the middle where it's not a strike. So I didn't have a problem with the hit by pitch there.
Yeah, he did have a wide strike zone, which the only time I really complained was in the ninth inning when Hundley was in, and we were watching it together because he's had a wide strike zone all night. Hundley threw one. Yeah, it was outside, but that pitch had been called a strike quite a bit all night long. Let's talk about the offensive side. It was an odd night. The bats were really not going for Tennessee. Looking at the stats here, Jake Rucker had a couple of hits. Jordan Beck had a couple of hits. Other than that, not a good night at the plate for the VAWLS. Looking at my notes here, what's so weird is the bottom of the sixth inning when LSU decides to go to their bullpen. Tennessee, I guess you could use air quotes and say makes him pay for it, but not really. I mean, Max Ferguson draws a walk. Jake Rucker does have a nice double, but then look at how they put runs on the board. Drew Gilbert hits into it's just a routine ground ball to third base, and the LSU third baseman hesitates. That's all he hesitates, and it cost him. And we talk, if Tennessee is going to make a run, if they're going to make a run in the College World Series, you have to eliminate mistakes. And that simple routine ground ball to the LSU third baseman, that brief hesitation, trying to turn around and tag out the runner, that cost him. Everybody's safe. Evan Russell comes up, draws a walk, base is full. Luke Lipsius, slow roller to second base. Could have easily been a double play, but just the way it plays out, they can't turn two. Jordan Beck follows that up with a little blooper to right field, right? Just a blooper to right field, yep. RBI single. Peter K draws a walk, bases full, 2 outs, but Pavoloni, you texted me. He's having a real great night, isn't he? He strikes out, leaves 3 on base. But the VAWLS lead coming out of the bottom of the sixth inning. And I mean, it could have been even worse for LSU because they did leave 3 stranded. But the biggest inning of the night for Tennessee, and only 2 balls hit out of the infield.
Yeah. I mean, they made it happen. They, like I said, Ferguson walk, Russell double. The only play LSU's third baseman really had would have been to get Gilbert at first, but that would have been a big out. And, that would have kept it a 1 run. I think Tennessee would have still gotten their 2 runs in the inning, but it would have, kept it a 1 run game going into the last inning. And, it was big right there. And I've criticized Tennessee sliding when Lipsius hit that one. I felt Russell went in with his legs up in there. And,
I was waiting on that to be called.
I mean, I don't get the sliding. Unfortunate for LSU, their guy in the 8th inning made a great slide, but you're playing on that turf, and he slid right through it. And the announcers criticized it. It was a great slide. It's just you're playing on freaking turf. And, and especially when it's wet turf, you're going to slide past it. But Tennessee sliding is, I don't know, man. They're always straight in with legs up. They got to learn to slide a little bit. And, I'm sitting here nitpicking, but Russell could have almost beat that one out. And, you lifting your legs up off the ground, you're not beating anything out right there. But, you make things happen. LSU made a mistake, and they made them pay, like you said, nothing besides Rutgers hit and Beck's hit. I mean, there was really nothing else in that inning, just more or less a version of small ball. There wasn't any bunting or anything, but they made them pay for it.
Yep.
And the walks. You can't walk batters. And that's, LSU's pitcher had 2 walks in the inning. They were big right there. If you're getting 2 free passes in the end, you've got to make them pay, and Tennessee did.
We talk a lot about on this show about Tony Vitello, his decision-making, why he does what he does. Tonight he comes out game 1 Super Regional, and he goes with his ace, Chad Dallas. Chad Dallas, again, gives you 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned run, 12 strikeouts. Just a great outing by Chad Dallas. He was close, might have been right at 100 pitches after 6 innings. I sent you a text in between innings, and I said, is it time for Sean Hunley? And sure enough, that's what Tony Vitello does. He goes to Sean Hunley, and he comes in and just gives you 3 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no earned runs, 4 strikeouts. Just another gutsy performance. Sean Hunley doing what he does.
Again, credit to their guy, but I'll live and die with our guy, Sean Hunley, any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Yeah,
live and die with Sean Hunley. So I think that tells you how important tonight's game was, right? You go with your ace, Chad Dallas. You go with probably your best guy in the bullpen, Sean Hunley, to follow that up.
Yeah, you're going all out at this point. And Chad Dallas gave you, like I say, he's right at 100. I don't know if he quite got there. He was right at it. He was close to his highest count of the year. But, yeah, I don't know who else you go to unless you maybe went to Sewell at that point. That's probably Sewell or Walsh, possibly. But I don't blame him. I'm going to Sean Hunley there as well. That's your guy. He bounced back last weekend, had a tough game against Wright State, but then he bounced back against Liberty. And, good calls, good management of his staff tonight. You hit that 100-pitch limit. I don't think when a guy's hitting his highest limit for the year, you test it any further right there. It could have been easy to bring Dallas back out, but he made the right call. A play in the ninth, it was another when Rucker took his time. It could have come back to hurt Tennessee. Fortunately, it didn't. But 97 pitches. There you go. I knew he was at 95 before facing the last batter, and I couldn't remember what happened right there. But, yeah, it was big tonight that, they're basically going into tomorrow with a full arsenal of pitchers outside of Dallas. He won't throw tomorrow, but, if it comes down to it, you can bet Sean Hunley's going to be back out there for 2 to 3 innings if needed tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm assuming they have not announced yet. Are they going with Tidwell tomorrow? Have they said?
I haven't heard it for sure, but I would imagine it's Tidwell versus Marceau. It's got to be. And I think, if they get to Monday, it'll be Heflin. But I think Tidwell tomorrow, and Tidwell's really been throwing. He's gotten better as the year's gone along. So I like having him go tomorrow with the series on the line.
What do you think about Sewell? Because, Tony Vitello, he's in line for a start at this point. But come on, man, when they use him, he was dominant. And If it comes down to Monday, you going Heflin or you going Sewell? Or even on the flip side, tomorrow, say Tidwell comes out, gives you 5-6 innings, and you need to go to the bullpen. Are you going to look at Sewell tomorrow? Because, like you said, at this point, you're playing to win.
I think we'll see how it goes tomorrow. I think if it gets to Monday, it'll be Heflin. I think they showed that last weekend in Game 3 against Liberty when they went Heflin. I think they kind of showed us that they'll stick with the same rotation right there. But I think if for some reason they need long relief, it'll be Sewell that comes in. Sewell's been pitching very well ever since the Friday game at South Carolina. He come in, gave up the home run. He's been lights out since that. I mean, he pitched great against Florida. Even that South Carolina game, after he gave up the home run, he pitched really good the rest of the game. Pitched real good against Florida. He came in last week in relief a game, pitched really well. I would not hesitate to go to him for multiple innings if needed. But, I think ideally you want Tidwell to go at least 6 to 7 tomorrow. If he gets into 8th, great. And then you go Sean Hunley. I think that's what they're hoping for. And, LSU's lineup after their top 4 or 5 is just not – that's where Tennessee has an advantage on other teams is 1 through 9. Their lineup is better than other teams' lineups. Yeah, there's, teams they play that are top heavy. But once you get to that bottom, I mean, that's where Tennessee can beat. That's where they're getting teams right there is the bottom because LSU's bottom really didn't do much. I mean, that Bianco was on and made some difference tonight. But besides him, I mean, the bottom of the lineup was non-existent there. And, I think ideally, hopefully we'll get the way Tidwell's been going, that he keeps it up right there. And then you turn it over to Hunley. But I think you'll have Sewell and Walsh ready. I think the way Cannell's been pitching, I would not trust him
he's
in
been
a close
struggling.
game at this point.
Yeah. Just talking. Well, I don't know. I'll go there in just a minute. I want to say this first. Gavin Blackwell is a member of the channel. Welcome on in. Thank you for supporting us. We appreciate that. We got how many people we got? We got 181 people watching a baseball show. I absolutely love it. I love it. That was a big time show last season just for football postgame shows. So it's awesome that you guys are supporting the channel, showing up for baseball. But do us a favor, smash that thumbs up just below the video. We got 110 likes. I want to get it. Let's get it to 150. That's ballsy. That's ballsy. But I think we can get it to 150. Yeah, we're to 113 just by me saying that. So if you guys will support us, just hit that thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate that. And then I want to do this real quick. I want to do some advertising real quick just while we got everybody here hanging out. If you want to support the channel in a big way, you can go pick up some merchandise. It's at bonfire.com/store/talkinVols. We do have these Egghead 2.0 shirts. They're collector's items because JP is gone. JP is never coming back. He's never going to be here again. But you can pick those up. But then we've also got these, man. I love these Ball Hoop shirt. I love the Ball Hoops logo. It's just such a clean shirt. You can pick that up. We're in the process of designing a baseball shirt. We'll probably hold off on that till next year. But we've got the State Pride logo merchandise and then just the old school clean cut Talkin' Balls logo merch. And if you're a coffee drinker like I am, you can pick up a coffee mug as well. Again, the link to all of that is in the description below. If you don't want to do that, if you don't want to pick up merchandise, that's great. That's fine. We appreciate it. Just hit that thumbs up. Oh, somebody hit thumbs down. They got so pissed off about my plug that they hit thumbs down. And that's okay. That's okay. You're welcome here too. I love you just as much as I love everybody else.
It probably came from California.
Probably. I would assume it came from somebody with a Dodgers hat on because I'm wearing this Braves hat. If I was guessing, that's what I would say. Talking about the lineup, you talking about the strength, and man, what a great preview you did kind of going into this game. Really good preview, breaking down both lineups and pitching and just everything top to bottom. But looking at Tennessee's lineup, this is something we talked about on the Talkin' Balls Facebook group. And I would encourage you also in the chat, if you're on Facebook, check it out, search Talkin' Balls in groups. We got a group set up. We love to interact with you guys. But a conversation we were having is how strong Tennessee's lineup is top to bottom. And, there were conversations early in the season about maybe bumping a guy like Jordan Beck up because Drew Gilbert was struggling at the time. But look, Luke Lipschitz is leading the team in home runs. He's leading the team in home runs from the 6th spot. But I think that's what makes this Tennessee lineup unique. They can hurt you top to bottom, 1 through 9. Look, Lipsius, like I said, leading the team in home runs. Jordan Beck has had some big-time moments, including tonight. Pete Durkee has hit the ball well at times. Pavloni may have struggled tonight, but he's had some big-time at-bats throughout the season as well. They're just strong top to bottom.
Yeah, they can, at any point, anybody in that lineup can beat you. And, you look at the top of the lineup there where Rucker had struggled so far, had a couple nice at-bats tonight. Evan Russell's struggling right now. He has had a rough postseason. He had a rough night again tonight. But, at any point, you may see him flip the switch and turn around. Beck had struggled. Beck had a good night tonight. You could flip-flop. If you went on who's hot and who's not, you could, really adjust that lineup every week. But he's keeping it the way it is for a reason. And, you could move guys around based on how they're hitting the ball and so forth. But, man, it just seems like it's somebody different every weekend. And, you've got Spence who's hitting high average, Rucker, 320 average, Ferguson. Most of your guys are under 300, but, can hurt another team at any point. It's a good lineup. It's and again, it's a difference in Tennessee versus other teams a lot of times. It's just that, like with LSU, and I go back to when I went up and watched them play South Carolina a few weeks ago. South Carolina was a top-heavy lineup. They had 4 guys that were really good. Once you got past them, though, that bottom 5 was non-existent. Tennessee made them pay all weekend, and that was the difference because you get down to a Durkee, a Pavloni that comes through versus the other team's guys can't do anything. That's big right there. And, especially when you take into account Tennessee's got a top 10 in the nation pitching staff based on stuff. They don't have the Kumar Rocker, Jack Leiter guy, but they got guys that can get it done as well. And it's a good, well-rounded lineup. And, if need to, anybody in the lineup can bunt. They can play small ball. They can play long ball. It's just, they can win a pitcher's duel. They can win a shootout. It just doesn't – that's what this team has got a chance to go a long, long ways because they can win really any type of game that you play.
GBO, great name, great avatar. Everything's great about GBO. It says, what are the predictions for tomorrow? I'll tell you what, man. I said it earlier. I'll say it again. I feel like just tonight was such a big game because I think anybody in the country is going to have trouble beating Tennessee on back-to-back days. It just is what it is. Now, tomorrow, does that mean Tennessee's going to go out and take care of business? I hope so. But you have to remember, like we talked about earlier, LSU is going to have their ace on the hill. Tennessee is going to be sending out Blade Tidwell. Tennessee's got to get the bats going. They have to get the bats going tomorrow because, again, as we talked about today, they kind of took over in the bottom of the 6th on a fluke inning. Not necessarily a fluke inning, but when you hit 2 balls out of the infield and you score 3 runs, you can't count on that every night. They got to get the bats going tomorrow. So we'll see. But Tennessee will take on LSU at 3 p.m. Eastern time. I think we didn't confirm it, but I do believe it is on ESPN2. And I want to encourage you guys, we're going to be live immediately following the game. Again, the Indy Kid is doing the Lord's work. And look, I'll just thank you on air. I've thanked you off air. I'm going to do it on air. Seriously, I love being able to count on you. Last weekend was a tough weekend. I talked about it. It is what it is. We had to say goodbye to our first family pet. It was a rough weekend. but I knew all I had to do was send you a text. You said, it's good, man. Do what you got to do. I got it. I can handle it. Tomorrow's selfish. It's nothing but Boogie being selfish. It's my 40th birthday. I'm going to be 40. I'm approaching the Indy kid. What are you, like 48, 49 at this point?
No.
40.
What you talking about, man?
It's my 40th birthday. I'm going down to watch the Smokies. I'm going to have a good time, and I won't be back in time to watch the full game and jump online. So the Indy kid will be live with you guys immediately following the game. We'll get that set up. Make sure you guys tune in, show some support. What do you think, Indy kid? How you feeling for tomorrow night?
I think we end it tomorrow. Breaking the brooms out tomorrow. I think Tennessee ends up. Just think Tennessee's a better team, and that's what I kind of looking at LSU when I previewed it. I had a little bit of downtime to actually really study their team, what they've been doing, and they've played better ball as the years gone along. But these series they've won to end of the year, they didn't exactly just beat a bunch of teams from Murderers Row. I mean, they beat Auburn, they beat Texas A&M. I can't remember who the third one was right off the top of my head, but I just felt, and I'm not taking anything away from LSU. Hats off to them. They bounced back last weekend, because last Sunday night after Tennessee won, here in the chat, there were people in the chat and me, we were talking about breaking down Oregon and stuff, because I'd watched Oregon and Gonzaga the night before, and LSU bounced back, didn't see it coming, and LSU did it, basically throwing a couple of bullpen games for the most part. Decent team, and I'll tell you what, if you're an LSU fan, you got to be excited, because I don't know how many guys in their lineup tonight they said, he's a freshman, he's a freshman, he's a freshman. Man, that's scary for SEC teams, but right now, I just think they're a step behind Tennessee. I think Tennessee's better from top to bottom. I think Tennessee's pitching staff is, I think Tidwell can go toe-to-toe with Marceau tomorrow, and I think Tennessee has better bullpen when it comes down to it. I think they're a more tested bullpen, and I think that means something right there. I think Tennessee finishes it off tomorrow. Tennessee beat Marceau earlier in the year. Dallas was dealing that night. It was another low-scoring game. But, Marceau his record's only like 7-6, 2.95 ERA, which is very respectable. But I think they get it done tomorrow. I think the perfect postseason continues, and then we're heading to Omaha next week, where I really think we'll play. I believe it'll be Dallas Baptist. They won today. I think Dallas Baptist is a little better team than Virginia.
Man, what a heck of a finish to that game, man. After, what was it, a 4-hour weather delay, and then bottom of the ninth, runner on third, their first baseman just absolutely flashes some leather and shuts that down. Big-time win for their program. Let me hit these. Donovan's back. Donovan's here. He's at work. How about that? He dropped $150 on us before we ever went live, knowing that he was going to go to work and not even be able to listen to the show. He's on break right now and throws a $5 super sticker at us. Donovan, you're unbelievable, man.
You're the man, Donovan.
You're
you.
Unbelievable. I know you already have Talkin' VAWLS merch, but if you want any shirt, send me a message, dude. I'll send you whatever you want. Hopkins lacrosse fan, my brother from another mother. What's up, Hop? Glad to see you in the chat. $5 super chat. He says, good evening, gentlemen. Not a baseball fan, but wanted to drop in and say hello. Happy pre-birthday, Boogie Bentley. Thank you, my buddy. It's good to see you in the chat. I know you're up there living the dream, watching lacrosse and all that good stuff. We're at 50 minutes, Indy Kid. I'm going to put you on the spot. You're the decision maker. The Tony Vitello post-game press conference is up. We got 175 people hanging out on air. You want to queue up the press conference and watch it, or do you want to wrap the show up?
Nope. I'm good to go. We got 175, man.
We're going to keep rocking and rolling in the free world, right?
Do it.
They're throwing money at
couple interesting questions here for right here. Do you think we can beat Virginia or Dallas Baptist? Yeah, I do. I think Tennessee's got a real Dallas Baptist that'll be a fun game. But I like Tennessee's chances I really like their chances to get to the final series. And, I know they ought to probably go through Texas, and Texas is a good team, but I like their chances there. And then, no, does anybody else want MLB will clean house and off center? Will the players stick around? That is a very interesting question right there. There is this team could look a whole lot different last year. Now, obviously, Tidwell will be back, but you got the possibility of losing Max Ferguson early, Rucker. I think Gilbert will be back. I think most of your guys will be back, but there's going to be some guys with decisions to make. Chad Dallas is a junior. I don't know how high he gets drafted, but one thing you may see too is with this COVID year, do you see an Evan Russell or Liam Spence possibly come back? I don't know how high their stock is, even though Spence, he's hit 340 for the year. I don't know how high the stock is. So if a guy gets drafted real late, does he come back or what? Because they do get that extra year. So it'll be interesting. Definitely some good questions there.
You also got to look at recruiting, I mean, what's Tony Vitello going to be able to do with recruiting?
Well, there's two guys on the list now that I think will never step foot in Knoxville.
Sure.
Brady House, and then they've had 3 5-star guys committed right now. So who knows? Maybe none of the 3 of them step foot down there, but definitely House. He's top 10 prospect. There's a kid with the last name of Spikes, and I'd have to look again on the third one. There's, the opinions are that a couple of them's probably never going to step foot in Knoxville. But, if they keep developing, that's a big thing with Tony Vitello so far is development. And something to keep in mind is, and they've discussed it, Drew Gilbert was originally committed to Oregon State. He wasn't just as a fielder. He was a pretty big pitching prospect coming in as well. And he's mainly thrown some during the week this year, but who knows? Maybe you see him a little bit more in the rotation or in the bullpen next year when it matters.
Well, let's fire up the post-game press conference here. Let's see if they ask any questions to Rucker and Chad Dallas. Typically, they only talk to Tony Vitello. Let's see what they have to say.
Head coach Tony, starting pitcher Chad Dallas, third baseman Jake Rucker. To ask a question, please click the raise your hand function. We'll call on you one at a time. Before we take questions, Coach will make some opening remarks. Coach?
Yeah, I mean, kudos to the people running the deal, and then also our people that decided to throw that block party, their fans, our fans. I don't know how you beat that environment other than keep the rain away, although the rain seemed to stoke the fire a little bit with the people. And then I was impressed that the guy to the left of me, for a lot of different reasons tonight, but mainly he was out there, got an out in a torrential downpour, and then looked like he was on his way to get another one, but then waits out the rain delay. So that's the thing that most sticks in my mind is how great the environment was and how gritty and gutty the guy to my left is, kind of like Scotty Skiles, they used to say. And I've always said he's a good guy to lead us into a weekend because that's the way he is, and our guys seem to kind of follow his lead. They do it in the dugout too when he's horsing around, which can be aggravating sometimes.
He may be the biggest joker on the team. It was a couple of weeks ago, man. He's just over there with his shirt peeled down, that big chain out, dancing, acting a fool. That dude's a joker, absolute joker.
So on the field, there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of grit, and if you're going to summarize our win, it's not like LSU didn't have the same thing, but it was kind of our brand of baseball. And we were able to overcome a little bit of adversity and fortunately win the game tonight.
Questions? We'll start with Ben McKee, and then we'll go to Jordan.
Yeah, Tony, was there any thought to going to somebody else during that rain delay? And just what did you see from Chad and Chad, what was working for you so well? And how did you kind of stay locked in there during that 50-minute rain delay?
Yeah, the administrative people here, Greg was the main guy. They communicated well to us what was going on, so we kind of had a decent idea of what was going to happen. So there was never going to be a long enough delay where we'd consider switching, but also it would have had to be really, really long because I can't coach pitchers like Frank, but you go out on the road, you scout them, and I did coach them for a few years. You kind of can see when a guy is locked in to the point where it's almost like he's not going to let anything happen other than what he wants to. And Chad kind of had that look to him. And obviously he's not invincible, and he's facing a really good team, but he just kind of had that look of determination. So I think really that was an easier decision than it was to leave him in to finish his final inning. But again, he kind of, facing Coach Bianco's son, I mean, he just kind of had that look like he was in get it done mode tonight, and he certainly was. And once again, our guys followed. So
I don't think people really understand, maybe they do, how difficult it is for a pitcher to go out there and throw a couple of innings and then have to go sit down for 45 minutes and then kind of go through your process again and get warmed up, get dialed in. And kudos to Hilliard too, man, because he came out and he took care of business. Man, he gave them a solid outing, and LSU obviously didn't get it done. But Hilliard and Dallas both, man, kudos to both of them for the way they handled that weather delay, because that's not easy to deal with.
Nope, no, not at all.
all you big boy.
Yeah.
How'd you
All
do
you-
it? How'd you do it? Let them know.
Yeah, so going through the rain delay was a little different. I mean, you sometimes sit through long innings, but those aren't as long as sometimes what this rain delay was. But like Coach Vitello said, I felt like it was my game to continue. In my heart and in my mind that there was nothing that was going to take me out of that game, no matter how long it was. Just as soon as I saw that it was a delay, I automatically went up to I think it was Coach Anderson and asked him, when can I go down to the cages and stay stretched out. It was just the competitor inside me that didn't want to get taken out of the game, and so it was there we go.
Jordan.
Hey, Tony, as you kind of look at this game, 3 of your 4 RBIs came in the back half of your lineup. Just as you kind of get into this point in the season, how much of a blessing is that to you that you kind of know top to bottom, you don't have anyone that you wouldn't want to.
Who's this chick? Like, we've been covering Tennessee baseball all year. I've never seen this chick on anything.
I don't know. Not sure if she's maybe a local reporter or what, actually. But
Just
no, I
looking
can't
for-
say.
I was
I
just
haven't
looking
seen
for
her
an
either.
opportunity to pause. That's all I was doing.
Mhm.
To see the plate,
Yeah.
so to speak.
No, it is. And you're giving me flashbacks to teams. I won't name any names, but it's tough to have a 1 through 9 deal going on. But in this league, every roster is so stacked. You tend to see the best offenses don't give you any breathing room. And I've been a part of teams or coached with teams where that's not necessarily the case. And everybody can feel the weight of the game on their shoulders when this guy's up or that guy's up or this part of the order. And if they don't get it done, then it's not going to happen. And with this club, it's different. It could be anyone on any given night. And you could see a guy, not naming any names, have a really bad at bat. And then next thing you know, he's willing to compete and answer the bell, which seems to be one of our themes, the next at bat. And,
That's hilarious.
it could be our guy takes the best BP out of anybody in a game, but doesn't get it done in his at bats, but the 2 or 3 hitters behind him do. So it's a blessing in particular this time of year, because you want your dugout to be confident. And I think these guys think that they can find a way.
I think
Troy,
pause
Dave
it just a
Duffy.
minute. I think a big thing, and you just notice it here with the way they're kind of throwing little pot shots and kidding, is just the camaraderie and with not only amongst the players but with Vitello and the players. And it's pretty obvious these dudes love playing for him and stuff. That's huge right there. He can him and his little quirky. He's a funny dude. Vitello is. I mean, it's just other than he's getting fired up and stuff. He's a funny. His press conferences are great.
Dude, I love
but-
when he gets fired up, man, because the team feeds off of that. And you talk about camaraderie and chemistry, and that's why when I talk about Josh Heupel, when we're doing football videos and football live streams, like, you can't overlook that stuff. And you can talk all you want to talk and it doesn't matter. And that's why I love so much when Josh Heupel, when he sat down and spoke to that football team for the first time, and he said, you're going to hear a lot of words and you can take it however you want to take it. I'm going to give you the actions and follow that up. And I think he has done that over the last 6 months. And Tony Vitello is, it's the same thing, man. Like you said, they've got that camaraderie, they've got that chemistry, and it's huge. It is absolutely huge.
Yeah, and he probably stepped into a similar situation. I mean, with just guys being beat down from, no crowds, no support.
Yeah, they talked about it on the broadcast tonight, talking about how some of these seniors played in front of 200 people. And now
they talked about, I mean, some of these seniors talked about when teams coming in just mocking them and basically come in that they know they were going to come in and drill Tennessee and stuff. So, it's what Vitello's done down there has been fantastic. I mean, who would have seen it coming this year? We obviously expected a good year, and who knows where last year would have went. But just that camaraderie, just that respect, just that everybody, everybody's on the same page. They're all pulling in the right direction. You cannot ever overstate how much that means right there. It's huge.
Tony, I got 2 questions for you just regarding emotion. I guess one, you seem to be really amped up right before the national anthem during that starting lineup. I guess just what has the lead up to this game been like for y'all? And I guess just how exciting was it to finally take the field and get ready to play game 1 and 2? I guess, was there any frustration on your part that they didn't call the game prior to Chad giving up that home run?
Well,
there's
as
this
far
cat
as
right
prior to
there.
the game, a lot was made of the long week, and now it's over with. Our guys are, they've been plopped right in the middle of a tournament. It's a, super regional tournament, and now we're in the middle of it. But a lot was made leading up to it, and I thought our guys were fine. I mean, part of the deal is we got done late Sunday night. I'm sure Chad didn't go to bed before midnight on Sunday night. We didn't know who we were playing until Tuesday morning, technically. So even though we were pushed to Saturday, the week was not as slow as you might think. And the guys were really good in training. There's not much you can do in practice this time of year. And then early in the day, I kind of had that vibe like, man, our guys this could be a good deal. The vibes we were getting. And then as that anthem picked up, everybody, including the coaches and myself, I think just got a little too jacked up. And it's hard to say that you should do otherwise when the environment's like that. You see a SEC opponent across the other side and all that. But once we calmed down and played, it was definitely in our favor. And there were some emotions from our side when the torrential downpour was going on. It was flashbacks of Fresno State. My main thing was I was just about to ask if Homeboy needed any conditioner on the mound. He slipped once, but he probably hurt us and himself a little bit by being in such go mode instead of kind of even cleaning his spikes would have maybe caused us to walk out there. But it's a decision that's out of our hands.
You could tell when the weather started coming in, he was not comfortable. And I kept waiting. I'm like, man, he's going to lose it. But he was dealing until he gave up that home run. He was doing well.
I can't imagine how hard it is to throw. I mean, because he kept kind of motioning right there. The ball's slick.
Yeah, he was trying to swap out the ball numerous times.
Yeah, and there's really nothing you can do right there because your uniform's soaked. You don't have a towel on you.
Pavoloni had a towel in his back pocket, but it's soaked too.
Well, I mean, by the time it's thrown back to Dallas, I mean, he's wet, his arms are wet, his hands are wet, his uniform's wet. They shouldn't have been playing at that point. They should have been pulled off the field at that point. I mean, a sprinkle or, a light rain's one thing, but, it was a flat-out piss poor.
That's what's funny is an absolute downpour. They're playing through it, but a lightning strike how many miles away, and they shut it down for 45 minutes?
Well, they have to.
I know they do. I know they do, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Like you said, they should have stopped it.
Yeah. And I want to take a minute too. We keep laughing here about we don't know who's popping up. I'm going to boast for us again. I do it every week. I'm going to do it again. when this baseball season started, we were the first ones on it. I'm going to sit here and say we were the first ones on it this year. Everybody else is trying to take credit that they're the big baseball covers and this and that. And yeah, we don't have the budget. We don't have the following maybe that some sites do to an extent. The YouTube world, we've got the followers, but we've been on it with baseball from the get-go. I'll put our coverage up against anybody's. Obviously, we don't have the media passes. We're not there covering. We're not there to ask questions. But, you know, while other outfits try to boast and, you know, really tout their coverage, we've been on it from the get-go, and I'll put ours up against anybody's.
So what you're trying to say is,
to be the man, you got to beat the man. And I'm saying, woo, right here.
Exactly.
That's what I thought.
All time and ask for some conditioner. But I'll be dang. I mean, you could say everything happens for a reason, but I'd say everything seems to happen crazy to this team. Sometimes we do it to ourselves, and sometimes we overcome those things, but it's just kind of part of our mantra.
David.
Yeah, for all you guys, what were you guys kind of doing in the during the delay, and also down a run 2 separate occasions? What was it like in the dugouts when that's the scoreboard in a game like this?
Start with Chad.
For me, I was just trying to stay, keep my body ready to go at all times, stay stretched out, keep my arm ready to get back on the mound. And, you know, the dugout vibe for me, it felt really good, even when we were down. You know, you trust everybody else on the team as much as possible. You know, they can get it done whenever in whichever situation. So you just stay positive and just wait for something to go your way.
Jake?
Yeah, adding on to what Chad said, like, we were just hanging out in the locker room, you know, playing some music, trying to keep the vibes up, you know, and just try to stay focused. And even though it was 50 minutes, we just weren't really worried about the rain delay. We were just worried about us, and not really worried about anything else. Just getting ready to go, and whenever they call us back out on the field.
Coach?
Yeah, I mean, you try and keep. You should have seen a couple of our younger coaches running around like mad. You kind of just try and keep it organized. You know, you don't want the frustration of being down 1-0 to carry over, but you also don't want them to get so giddy that they can't get locked back in, because we knew it was going to be a quick turn, you know, whenever they allowed us to get back on the field. So all in all, I think the kids do a good job of managing themselves in a lot of situations. And that's one where you kind of just don't do anything. You hang out, you know, or do less. Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Backus and Ryan Shumpert.
Yeah, Tony, what does it say about this team's identity that it keeps getting pushed in or put into high pressure situations like you had a couple times today, and it keeps delivering for the most part?
Zero regard for their coaching staff's heart or arteries or however that stuff
or their
works
fan base.
Yeah. But you know, you get to this time of year, it's not going to be easy. You play in our league, it's not going to be easy. You know, you kind of win some games, or you do some things, and you show up on social media, and on Tuesday, people are coming in here to take something from you. It's never going to be easy, and we've never asked for it to be like that. It's been kind of a rough go since day one when our coaching staff first got here to get to where we want to get, and we're still working towards those things. But again, it's never going to be easy along the way, and somehow or somewhere in the whole mix of this, the kids have kind of embraced that and almost kind of welcomed it. And I think that's helped them, you know, succeed in the situations you're kind of referring to. And a lot of that starts with leadership. And so we have two good candidates sitting to the left of me as it relates to that.
For Coach, it seemed like sometime in SEC play, y'all's kind of offensive identity had changed a little bit as the power came out. Just how important were those 6 weeks when your identity was kind of grinding out at bats in a game like this when the power wasn't quite as potent?
Yeah, deja vu all over again. I think Folky's calling you. So hello, Folky, if you were watching the game. I know he's a fan, but you know, it shows that you can win games in any type of situation. And it's really fun to have. We haven't had that many of them. It's really fun, you know, for the offense to explode and the fans to go nuts and win by 8 or 9 runs. But it hasn't happened often, and especially early in the year, as you mentioned, the kids just kind of had to learn to find a way, and it came in a variety of ways on the road and
It's funny them talking about offense and the fans getting excited. What would you rather watch? Would you rather see a game where they hit 4, 5, 6 bombs, score a bunch of runs, or do you like what? I just love pitching, man. I love a pitcher's duel. And I feel like in those close games where both pitchers are throwing well, dude, man, it just builds anticipation. I loved. Obviously, Tennessee comes out on top. I'm happy, but tonight's game was just fun to watch for me.
A little bit of both. I like I like a good bomb fest occasionally. I like a good pitcher's duel. I like the bomb fest if Tennessee's just drilling somebody.
Sure.
Now, if it's back at, like the Wright State game, that was nerve-wracking. That was so nerve-wracking. That was tough right there. But, yeah, a good pitcher's duel's cool sometimes as well. But I don't know. I like a little bit of both. It just kind of depends. As long as Tennessee comes out on top, then that's all that matters. So.
at home. And so, in your utility belt, when you need something, we're fortunate enough we kind of got a, diverse portfolio that you can go to as it relates to finding a way to win a game.
Trey Wallace, then Wes Rucker.
Hey, Tony. So during that sixth inning, kind of walk us through your thoughts on what went on with Drew Gilbert, reaching on the fielder's choice, and then Lipsius taking care of business, and kind of momentum swinging your way. In your eyes, what did you see out of that? What did you see out of your hitters taking pitches and walking, and how would you sum it up?
I honestly think it all started with Chad. You were talking about basketball here a second ago. A lot of great basketball coaches say your best offense is defense. And, I think the fact that he was able to get out of that jam in a really tough spot when, if you're a fan or you're a media member, you're saying, man, we don't really have a lot of wiggle room for air here. And we come in with that momentum in the dugout. They were charged up. So you had guys with that good mix that we were fighting for all game long of, amped up because it's, super regional, all that good stuff, but also just kind of more relaxed and focused on being determined to win pitches. And, whether that's the best description or not, I don't know, but there was a good mix in the dugout. It was a good vibe going on in that inning. And, sometimes karma's on your side when that's the case. You get kind of a funky bounce and you get a ball that goes over an infielder's head, and guys hustle and make things happen. So it worked out well in that inning. But again, I feel like it all started on the defensive end.
And following that up real quick, Tony, knowing that you were about to make the pitching change, how big was that in the terms of Hundley? I know about the runs scored, but in your mindset and Frank's mindset, knowing what you guys were about to do.
I think it was huge. It it never works out where plan A is what happens in the game. But prior to the game, you got to at least envision, how it'll go if it goes your way. And then along the way, there's, of course, some speed bumps. But the guy, we've never really pushed him to the max, even though several times he said to me, I can save our bullpen because he's always throwing game one. But his shtick or his thing is he's going to have energy. He's going to compete his butt off. He's not going to be flawless, but he's going to get us deep into the game and give us a chance to win. And, it's nice driving to the park knowing that when you got homeboy throwing here.
Homeboy. I know we talked about that inning a little bit earlier, but it really was a big inning for Chad Dallas. I mean, runners on first and second, nobody out. And we talked about how LSU's trying to bunt, move the runners over, and that's when Pavoloni throws it into left field. And LSU has a 2-1 lead, and you've got a runner on second with, I think, one out. No, nobody out. Runner on second, nobody out. And Dallas strikes out 2 in a row and then gets ground ball to short. That was huge, absolutely huge in the top of the fifth inning.
Well, and that's another place where Tennessee stands out from other teams. The guy didn't do his job and didn't get the bunt down for LSU.
Yeah.
And Tennessee is probably one of the better bunting teams there is out there. And that's paid off for them numerous times. That's just a big when you got guys down in the bottom of the order that really can't hit that well, when you ask them to bunt, they need to be able to get that bunt down. Yeah, it was Tony Vitello was exactly right. That sometimes your defense, kind of get your offense going, and Dallas getting out of that with only the one run was big. And, that run could easily not have, if that throw would have been on the money, they wouldn't have gotten a run out of that. But the fact that they were kind of in some danger and got out of it with only one run, yeah, that was big. And, they weren't in much of a hole. And, anytime they're only down a run, they're never out of it right there. I mean, we saw it last weekend. But, that's just the difference. Little fundamental things, little things. Both teams made mistakes, but when it boiled down to it, Tennessee made things happen where LSU didn't.
Back to Ben and Troy.
Yeah, Tony, just looking towards tomorrow, just how big do you expect tonight's pitching performance from Chad to maybe help out Blade as he kind of goes back out there against LSU? And I was curious, Jake, just your perspective on what Hilliard was doing so well to keep y'all off balance, and then what changed when the lefty came in.
Yeah, as far as Blade, I mean, it's really kind of been more about, obviously he's thrown on either game 2 or game 3 for us, so he's been able to watch the opponent and learn from his teammates. But really, it's kind of been about Blade's, his evolving as a pitcher and maturing as a college athlete. So I think that's, kind of more his deal he's going on. He's just been getting a little better each week, and it's been fun to watch. And I think Chad's effort certainly helps that. I think Chad and Sean made sure we didn't really have to tax the bullpen like crazy. Of course, same thing on the other side of the dugout. And, they'll have their guy going, Marceau. And, Jake will talk about Hilliard. I recruited the heck out of Hilliard. I don't think he remembers me because he stuck it on us pretty good. He's an outstanding pitcher, but, the guy that they've had as their ace or their go-to guy is throwing tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know what Coach V was saying about Hilliard. He obviously is a good pitcher. He threw pretty well today. All his pitches working pretty well, keeping the hitters off balance. He didn't really have anything overpowering, but all his pitches moved pretty good, and that's just allowed us to not be able to kind of hit him that well. But when that lefty came in, we kind of got something going, like in the 6th inning, like we were talking about earlier, and just Chad keeping us in the mix throughout the game, and just playing that defensive role on the mound there. So with the help of him and us being able to put some at-bats together, just helped us get the win.
Let's go to Wes real quick.
Hey,
Wes,
for Jake and for Chad.
Every time he comes on
it seems
screen.
like ever since maybe going back to the Florida series, people keep asking, will this moment ever get too big for this team? Y'all played some of those top 5 teams in the regular season, then you became a top 5 team. Then it was, okay, can they do it down the stretch? And then it was, okay, can they do it in Hoover? And then the regional. I mean, at some point, are people just going to have to stop asking if a moment's going to get too big for y'all? It just seems like you just seem to keep handling them.
Obviously the SEC is probably the best conference in the league, and it helped us prepare playing all those big teams, top ranked in the country. And so just having those close games, I guess, just we just trust the guys around us, and we just have that confidence in each other that we're going to get the job done later in the game, just because we've been through basically everything so far this season. And so we've definitely seen something different every night. And so we're just going to go out there and keep doing us and keep playing our game.
Yeah, adding on to what Jake was saying, trusting everybody on the team in any situation that comes our way is really big. We're a very close team with teammates, and when you have that trust in everybody on the team, it helps so much of just staying cool, calm, and collected while in the dugout, waiting your turn. So like he was saying, when when you trust everybody in any situation, it helps kind of keep the relaxation.
Hashtag Team Rucker, by the way.
Wow. Maybe he likes
Troy?
dogs too.
Jake, Ryan touched on it a little bit, but how much easier is it for y'all as an offense when y'all don't just have to rely on scoring on power or scoring with a small ball and just kind of being able to take that pressure off yourself and knowing that there's not one road to getting back in a ball game?
Yeah, going back earlier to what we were saying about just the back half came through for us tonight, getting it done, because like 1 through 9, we're pretty dangerous. And so we're just going to keep doing our thing and keep using that mojo and momentum that we've had. And we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing and not really changing anything. So
Blake, then back to Trey.
Yeah, Tony, we hear coaches all the time that are trying to rebuild programs say, be patient and it takes time, et cetera. You're in year 4 and your program is 1 game away from the College World Series. How have you?
You got a comment, I can tell. What do you got?
No, it's a good comment. I mean, how many times have we heard that down there over the years? Be patient. We're rebuilding and stuff, man. I'm so sick of hearing that down there. Come in knowing what you've got and do something about it. And, we've never heard Vitello complain about that. He's past that point now. He's in year 4 and he's shown the progress. Hopefully other coaches model their program kind of the same.
Well, look at
Rick
Barnes. Look at Rick Barnes. I keep saying do more with less. And that's what Rick Barnes did. You do more with less, then the recruits start to come, then you start to build a powerhouse. And that's what Vitello's done too.
Yeah, and not to get off on a football tangent, but how many coaches have we seen have come in with that mindset? Well, we're rebuilding. Give us time. The heck with that. Come in, get your job done. All right. You don't have every year. And no, we're not patient, and we're not waiting on you to give you 4 or 5 years to turn it around. Come in, get your job done, win the games you're supposed to, and go on. And again, it's not to get off. Sorry to get off on it, but that's a good question the guy asked, and we've heard that so much down there. And frankly, I'm sick of it, and I'm glad somebody's doing something about it down there in Vitello.
You've done this on this timeline.
I don't have a lot of patience, as you probably saw somewhere in the second inning or something. I look like an idiot. I'm sure if the cameras were on me during the game, but there's definitely no secret sauce. I mean, we have good players, so they make you look smart. But if I gave a direct and really a most accurate answer, it'd be the people that are in this building that work with our guys. I mean, Megan Anderson, our academic coordinator, and Jeff Woody, our trainer. I mean, I've been doing this a while, and I don't mean to offend anybody else, but it's not even close. Those two on how they do their jobs. So I think we have good people working with good kids, and it makes it a little easier. Not super easy to sleep at night, but it definitely makes it easier to sleep at night. So.
Hey, Tony, during the rain delay, I want to go back just a second. Was there ever a thought between you and Frank, kind of what you guys were going to talk to the team about? Were you going to say anything, or did you just kind of leave it alone and let the players kind of just hash it out on their own?
Yeah, I mean, I hate being overly honest with these guys here, but I kept going to each assistant and saying, am I going in there and saying anything? And everybody just said, leave them alone. And, that's me just, I wasn't exactly happy with kind of the presence that was there. It's not like anything was wrong, but it wasn't.
That's tough, man. I'd go in there and talk to them.
They were kind of going outside themselves a little bit, maybe too amped up, whatever you want to call it. But I just gave a great example of what I was talking about before. I wasn't throwing BS out there. There's really good people that are really great at their specific job, and they know these kids well because they're around them so much and take so much pride in it. So I asked them for advice before I almost do anything, and they were right on. Just let the guys be. They, Ruck said it a few times, Mojo. They kind of got their own deal going this year, and so they've got a lot of latitude, and they do a great job with it.
Last question, Ryan.
for Jake. Tony kind of referenced your rough at bat a minute ago. Just what were you able to do to get that out of your mind and bounce back with 2 doubles?
Yeah, going back to what I was saying about Hilliard, it's just like his stuff was good, like all of his pitches were working pretty well. And so just all my teammates going when I was in the dugout, just picking me up and let me know everything's going to be all right and just go get the next one and don't worry about that last at bat. And just trying to stay positive. And like I said, that mojo that we have, it's been working. And so just having that confidence with each other and having that trust definitely helped me out to get those 2 doubles or just for us, the rest of the team to string some hits together and score some runs for the pitchers. So.
Thank you, gentlemen, and congratulations.
All right, that's it for the press conference. Do you think, just final comments here before we wrap this thing up, a 90-minute post-game baseball stream, did you ever think we'd be doing this?
It's awesome. It is awesome.
Do you think Tony V is sometimes too much of a rock star? Like the post-game press conferences, they hardly ever talk to the kids. It's always all about Tony Vitello. That's it, man. The dude's a rock star.
Yeah, it's he is. It's he's the big show in town right now. I mean, he's I don't know. It's I mean, I don't know how much you can ask those kids. It's the funny thing about it, How were you feeling tonight when you went after this inning or that one? How, there were some decent questions for him and stuff, but I think most of it is going to be for him because of, decisions or how do you keep them in check during the rain delay. Yeah, that's tough, man. That's tough keeping them dialed in right there. And just, he's definitely the rock star in Knoxville right now. There's no doubt about it. I mean, just, look at the atmosphere tonight, that watch party. I'd love to know how many people were there for that in addition to the game. And, it's just for baseball. Imagine if football ever gets good again. Good Lord. It's going to be insane down there. But, hats off for what he's built down there. And, I'll stick to my guns. I know I saw we had an LSU fan said they're not done yet. No, only because you haven't played the second game. That's the only reason why. You're going out tomorrow. And I mean it with all due respect. I just think Tennessee's a better team from top to bottom. I think pitching staffs, you got your ace going, 7.6, 2.95 ERA. He is a strikeout guy. I think Blade Tidwell matches up well, but when it comes down to it, I think Tennessee's lineup is better top to bottom, and I think Tennessee's bullpen is better top to bottom. I just think, who knows? Maybe we play Monday, maybe we cover this thing Monday, but I really think that Tennessee's Omaha bound will come tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm not wrong on that one. So.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Again, a reminder, tomorrow the VAWLS take on LSU. Game 2, 3 p.m., I believe, ESPN2. The Indy Kid will be live by himself. So you guys got to show up. You guys have to show up and carry him so he can feed off of your energy. But that'll be immediately following the game tomorrow. If they do force a Game 3, we will be back together on Monday. And we'll be covering that immediately following that game as well. But that's it. That's going to wrap it up for this one. If you haven't done so yet, please do smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. But for the Indy Kid, I'm Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin' Balls Network. Go Big Orange.
That's all.